The Xyrathian Empire had charted countless stars and conquered more worlds than they could name. Their empire stretched across the spiral arms of the galaxy, a civilization of unparalleled technology, order, and logic. Yet even they were not immune to curiosity or greed. When long-range probes detected a planet rich in resources and brimming with the remnants of intelligent life, it was an opportunity too valuable to ignore. Earth, a small, unremarkable world by galactic standards, nestled in a quiet corner of the Milky Way. It had been isolated from the wider cosmos for eons, untouched by the conflicts and alliances that shaped galactic history. The Xyrathians had expected to find a civilization still struggling with basic technology, ripe for annexation and assimilation. Instead, they found something far more puzzling. As the fleet descended into orbit, Commander Terex stood on the bridge of the flagship Virex, studying the data streaming across the holographic display. The planet's surface was littered with vast cities, sprawling metropolises that stretched for miles. Towers of glass and steel reached into the sky, monuments to human ingenuity. But there were no signs of life. No transmissions. No movement. Only silence. "Surface scans complete," reported the ship's chief scientist, a thin, pale Xyrathian with an analytical mind. "No biological signatures detected. The planet is empty." Terex frowned. "Empty? Impossible. Our probes detected intelligent life just decades ago. A planet doesn't empty itself overnight." The scientist hesitated. "There are anomalies, Commander. Energy signatures that do not conform to known patterns. Residual traces of technology we cannot identify. It is possible they annihilated themselves. Or something annihilated them," Terex murmured. His eyes remained fixed on the image of the planet below. "Prepare an expedition team. I want boots on the ground within the hour. We will find out what happened here." The landing was uneventful. A sleek transport ship descended into the heart of what had once been a human megacity. The air was thin but breathable, the skyline a ghostly silhouette against the setting sun. The streets were cracked and overgrown with weeds, nature reclaiming what humanity had left behind. Vehicles sat rusting in place, windows shattered, doors ajar. It was as if the people had simply walked away, leaving everything as it was. Terex led the team personally, a contingent of elite Xyrathian explorers clad in reflective armor, their helmets bristling with sensors. They moved through the empty streets, scanning, analyzing, searching for any clue to the fate of the vanished civilization. Hours turned into days. The explorers combed through libraries, data centers, and archives, sifting through the detritus of a vanished world. They found records of human history, art, and science, evidence of a species that had risen from the mud to touch the stars. But nothing explained their disappearance. There were no signs of war, no plague, no cataclysmic event. Only silence. Then, on the third night, the whispers began. At first, they were faint, a soft murmur carried on the wind, barely audible over the hum of the explorers' equipment. Some dismissed it as the creaks and groans of an old, dying city. Others joked about ghosts, though such superstitions were beneath a species as advanced as the Xyrathians. But the whispers grew louder, more distinct. They formed words in the Xyrathian language, words that sent chills down the spines of even the most stoic explorers. "Leave, this place is not yours." Terex dismissed the reports as psychological effects of the planet's desolation. "Continue the mission," he ordered. "There are no ghosts here. Only echoes of a dead species." But the planet did not feel dead. Shadows flickered at the edges of their vision, moving in ways that defied logic. Equipment malfunctioned without explanation. Communications were scrambled, maps became unreliable, and navigational systems led them in circles. The chief scientist reported strange anomalies in the fabric of space-time itself, as if reality on Earth was unstable. "It's as if the planet exists in two states simultaneously," he explained, his voice tense with unease. "One that we can perceive, and one that we cannot." Terex began to feel it too, the sensation of being watched, of unseen eyes tracking their every move. At night, in the temporary camp they had established, he dreamed of figures standing over him, their faces obscured, their eyes glowing with a cold, inhuman light. He awoke drenched in sweat, the whispers still echoing in his ears. Unbeknownst to the Xyrathians, humanity had not vanished. They had transcended. Faced with the threat of annihilation by a distant cosmic force, human scientists had unlocked a new frontier, phased reality. A state of existence just beyond the reach of normal perception, where they could observe the physical world but remain hidden from it. It had been a desperate gamble, but it had worked. Humanity shifted into this phased state, slipping out of sync with space-time, invisible to their would-be conquerors. Now they watched from the shadows, observing the invaders who dared to claim their world. In their new state, humans had learned to manipulate reality itself. They could distort light and sound, create illusions, and project their presence into the minds of their enemies. They became the whispers, the shadows, the flickers of movement at the edge of sight, and they were not pleased with the intruders. "Increase the pressure," whispered General Kale, leader of the phased resistance. His voice carried through the void, reaching the ears of his hidden operatives. "Let them feel our presence. Let them know they are not welcome." The Zyrathians began to unravel. Crew members reported seeing ghostly figures in the darkness, hearing voices that spoke of doom. Food supplies spoiled overnight, machinery failed, and crew members fell ill with no discernible cause. Paranoia spread like wildfire. Commander Terex, once a pillar of logic and authority, grew erratic and distrustful. He accused his own officers of sabotage, suspecting betrayal where none existed. The whispers became deafening, the shadows unbearable. The city itself seemed to shift and twist around them, a living maze designed to trap and torment. Finally, Terex made the only decision he could. "We are leaving," he announced, his voice trembling with exhaustion. "This world is cursed. We cannot conquer what we cannot understand." The Zyrathian fleet ascended into the sky, their once proud ships now shadows of their former glory, battered and broken by an enemy they could not see. From their hidden vantage point, the humans watched in silence, their phased forms shimmering in the twilight. As the last of the alien ships disappeared into the void, the whispers ceased. Earth fell silent once more, a silent frontier guarded by the unseen, the forgotten, and the undefeated.